Welcome to the Fans of Fitness podcast, a voice for fitness, health, and wellness professionals. The National Personal Training Institute of Arizona.
Legit instructors teaching you.
No, enough of those bad reps. The good quality trainers that come out of the school.
Let's get into it.
Joey, welcome back to the Fans of Fitness podcast.
Thank you for having me back. Round two.
Round two, our first one.
Yeah.
First round two, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, nice. First round two. I love it.
Yeah, I figured we could have gone 4 hours at the first one. So let's continue that conversation.
Yeah, I think it got kicked off when we had another round of students.
Yeah.
And then we kind of went into the dysfunction of like the health and the fitness industry as a whole.
Mm.
And then we were just and you said,
off.
hey, let's get another podcast going. I said, okay, great, let's do it. So yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, cool to have you back, man. It looks like a lot has changed or a lot's happened for you at OPT Fitness over the last few weeks, months.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed you had a news channel in there videoing.
Yeah.
What was that, and how did that happen?
So since the last podcast, so much has happened. And it kind of just doubles down on, I know I had sent you a copy of the ebook.
Yeah.
Kind of the different programs, not only that we run at OPT, but the philosophy of OPT. And I just really was like, hey man, this is how I love approaching health and fitness. I want to double down on this. And we just started doubling down on that. And not only did our, clients start seeing, I don't want to say better results, but results that were they were connecting the dots more. Because some of the stuff that's in the book, when people come in, I'm coming in to lose weight or gain muscle or health and fitness, they don't realize the emotional, the psychological component of what it is that they're actually doing. And so hey, this is going to be a part of your program. These are some things to look out for. Psychologically, emotionally, and physically as you are approaching health, wellness, fitness, all of that, be on the lookout for these things. And so then we just started putting all these different, not only marketing, but letting people know this is a part of your journey. And we were like, okay, now we're ready for more marketing. So we just started doing more marketing. I got an email back from this lady from Channel 10. It was like, hey, this is fantastic. We want to come in and do a segment on your summer programs or the sauna and the ice. And I've been on a couple times throughout the years, but never the totality of what OPT is. And so it was really cool to not only have the reporter there, but when she emailed me, she was like, hey, one of the reporters is going to do the ice bath. And so I was like, are you sure? Like on live? Okay. And so it was really cool because she got there early. I kind of told her how it's going, and she's done a cold plunge before. And I said, hey, if you want to kind of do a practice round, because it's not 32 degrees. So this is 32. It's freezing. So I don't know if you want that to be like your first time doing it. And she was like, no, I'll be fine. And it was funny because she got in and it was immediately like, okay, News Channel 10 signing off, And it was awesome because she was a really good sport about it. But it was really cool to show people, hey, we do the fitness stuff, we do the, the wellness stuff, the athlete stuff. So I had a little sample of kind of everyone that we work with. And then the whole sauna ice section of OPT. We didn't get like too deep in terms of the emotional, psychological side of the sauna and the ice. But hey, we offer the sauna and the ice as well. And so it was really cool to showcase that and have her get in and just like be a really good sport about it, which I was like really impressed. I was like, man, good for you to just hop right in and on live because it was live. Like good for you. Like that's fantastic.
How long did she last?
Maybe like, I don't know, maybe like a minute or so, maybe 30 seconds to a minute, because the lives are just so bang, bang, in and out. They're just trying to do a little showcase. And so it was, real quick, but she got out. She was like, okay, I'm doing it and I'm out, So it was good. She was a really good sport about it.
Yeah, that's cool. Was that on, like on daytime news? Or was that
it was like
morning,
Fox
evening?
10, Saturday AM. Like
Saturday.
They highlight local businesses or kind of in the community. So that was really cool that they were willing to, do that. I was like, oh, wow, absolutely. Like, let's do it. So
Yeah, of course, man.
yeah,
Exposure.
yeah,
That's great
yeah,
exposure.
yeah.
Yeah. So what else has been going on there?
Oh man, just for us, you know, even when your students come in,
Mhm.
right? It just really seeing, because sometimes I don't when I take people, even like your students come in, I don't assume or expect, oh, this is what's going to happen.
Mhm.
But as it's been happening more and more, especially with the trainers, I think the fascinating thing for me with the people that come in, your students, the trainers, I don't, oh, this is what's going to happen. Now I have a general sense, okay, these things are going to happen. But when it keeps happening, it's just the more of awareness of, okay, this is going to happen, and not being afraid of it in terms of like, oh, like it's happening. No, because I know some of these things are going to happen, but it's a little bit different when I have like the trainer aspect, because they wear the coach hat, the guide hat, the, you know, the macros, the exercises. They have all that, but then when they come in and they're like, "Oh, we're not doing kettlebells, or we're not doing conditioning, we're gonna do this," and to see the overwhelming positive response from the trainer community and their openness to receive not only feedback, but to say, hey man, if you guys are going to be health and fitness coaches, but you're not doing this, you're doing a huge disservice to your clients.
Yeah.
And I know that might suck to hear, but as a professional, knowing this stuff, you should really bring this into your own, not only toolkit for yourself, but introduce it to your clients, because it's going to help you so much. And so to see their openness and receptiveness to those things, like the breath work and the sharing and the experience and the community, I think what I really love about any group of people that come in, that as people are doing it, they're encouraging each other. I'm not coaching them to do it. I'm not telling them, hey, make sure you're there for your friend or your teammate or your coworker or your husband or your wife or your brother or sister. I don't ever have to say that. It just happens. Like the best part of people's spirit, especially coaches, you get to see that they genuinely have a love for coaching people, helping people. And so with that last group, we took everyone through a round, and then we kind of stepped out, and I said, all right, guys, you know, you can warm back up in the sauna. And then we were in the main gym, and people were like, I'm going back in. I want to do the full 3. But then you hear the coaches like coaching them up. You got this. You can do it. Like, breathe. And then they do the full 3 minutes, and you hear the, oh my God, ah, the elation of it. I love that. And so just being more in tune with that and creating opportunity for that to happen organically by, okay, we're going to just lean in on this. Everyone's going to sauna today, or everyone's going to ice bath today. We're going to end the workout 10 minutes early. We're going to do our breath work, sauna, and then ice, and kind of let them begin to create that community support organically.
Yep.
Because that's also a part of, wow, that feels really good to help someone through something really hard. That always feels good no matter what it is. It could be setting up a podcast, helping someone with a golf swing, helping someone through a hard time. That is a part of wellness. That's a part of mental health. That's a part of psychological health. And to see that just keep happening over and over and over, and in a way that, okay, here's what we're doing. How do I communicate that in a way that people know that that's what we're doing? This is the impact. These are the benefits, and this is how to make it sustainable. So whether you are a mom or a dad, a very active work person, you work a lot, man, implementing some of these tools, these strategies, it's going to improve the quality of your life, not just health, fitness, overall wellness. So leaning into that. And I was working with this business coach, because I go back and I reread the things that I do or write or put out. And I'm always looking at like language. I love etymology. I love the study of root words, meanings. Do people really know what they're saying, or are they just saying these things because it sounds nice? Because that's the buzzword. And I was working with this business coach, and I said, man, one of the words that I hate saying is holistic. I don't like it. It gives me this it's a gross feeling because I'm in this world of the meditation, the ceremonial work that we talked about on the last podcast, and people throw words around, holistic, surrender, and it just was driving me crazy. And I'm like, why don't I like that? Because you could just say holistic on, oh, this chair is holistic, my breath is holistic, and people all of a sudden separate it from health and fitness. And there's this weird, holistic is for these types of people, and then these types of people it's not for. And there's this weird clash, but also disconnect. Because if I say I'm going to take you through a holistic approach, people have this weird, like, what is that? Like, that's kind of gross. Do I have to use crystals? And now I'm going to use essential oils? And no. And so I told him this. Shout out to Aaron, by the way. And so he was like brainstorming some ideas, and he came back with, because I was explaining to him what we do. And he says, how do you like the word whole human? I was like, oh my God, I love whole human, mind, body, spirit, emotion. It's the whole human. And so that helped me be like, oh yeah, that's what we're doing here. We're teaching people how to be whole humans, not perfect, not the most elite, not hack your way into a better lifestyle. Can you deal with your own humanity in whole? My ups, my downs, when I fall off, when I mess up, when I tell my coach, oh, I'm going to be here at 6 a.m. and then, oh, I overslept my alarm. Can I encompass all of myself, mind, body, spirit, emotions into a container that we use as health, fitness, breath work, sauna, ice, meditation, journaling, community, communication. And I think that it just felt really good kind of getting more clarity on it. Like, oh, that's what we're doing. And that feels really good, not only for me as a person, but to be able to communicate that. It's a totally different word than holistic.
Yeah.
It's like, no, whole human, because I'm not trying to isolate parts of you or compartmentalize you or pathologize you. I want the entirety of you. And from there, we can work in a way that feels comfortable for you at your own tempo and create sustainability regardless of your life, personal life, work life. So that way, yeah, I'm making an impact in your life long term, not just when you're inside of OPT.
Yeah. Yeah, that word holistic, it's interesting because you're right. Until you just said that, I think people think of holistic anything is something that's kind of a fringe thing. It's kind of been, in a way, hijacked by some people who make it something other than, I think, what it originally was.
Yeah.
Which is what you're saying, whole body, right? Or
yeah,
that's what you said, right?
Yeah, whole human.
Whole human. So, when I hear holistic, or before I even heard the word holistic or knew what it meant, I always associated that with crystals.
Yeah, like hippies.
Yeah, hippies and patchouli oil and all that sort of thing. So I think that's a reaction a lot of people have when they hear holistic, but it's used so often now. It's kind of like functional training. When that became huge, a dozen years ago, everything was functional. Like, all right, well, what's the definition of functional? If we go by definition, that's not functional because we don't do that. But everything became functional. I think that became a catchphrase for a lot of gym owners. We're functional. Is that what you're doing? Is that functional? Or barbell snatch is functional? I don't know if they are. I don't think that is a definition of functional.
Yeah.
I don't think we do that.
That's another fascinating thing that you said because, well, two parts of that. Because I was using the word holistic because in my head, I'm like, yeah, breath, sauna, ice, movement, these things are natural. That's an actual, instead of saying holistic, you should just say natural. And this is where, even for me, when I talk about the tools that I use or the lens that I coach people, the elements that I talk about in our philosophy, I use them on myself. I'm never afraid to go back and be like, oh, I need to change. I need to adapt. I don't like that anymore because I've evolved. And so when you say holistic, it's almost like this is better than that. This is better than that. Oh, it's not holistic, so it's not. You put some weird barrier between there, and that's the same thing with functional, because when I heard that, to your point, everything became functional. But when I look at functional, I'm like, well, I'm looking at the removal of pain. if the things that I'm taking you through, teaching you about, is it taking pain away from your life? Pain in the body, psychological pain, emotional pain, pain in the community. If you're going to a job that you hate every single day because you're just trying to make ends meet, you're living in pain. So am I actually teaching functional things? You know, is this a natural movement? Am I teaching you how to run or jump or throw or sleep better? Because if those are the things that's an actual human movement, but we're not doing that, how are you going to tell me you're doing functional training, but you don't got people running? What? You don't have people jumping or hanging or throwing? How are you going to say that that's functional if you're not teaching them how to run or power walk or however it might be? And that's, you know, what we were talking about, the dysfunction of health and fitness is we find these buzzwords and we cling to them, and then we just paint everything and lump it in. And now you don't say, well, if this is a functional movement, you might, if you're a bodybuilder or a power lifter, and be like, well, but you should do these things, but because we've labeled them, you think it might take away from something that you're doing, versus actually there's a beautiful harmony within these things in terms of recovery. If we're talking functional training, but you're not including recovery, you recover every night if you sleep. That's functional. But if we're not addressing that, then how functional are we really being? And so just having that different clarity, even on our own practice and what we do, has just brought not only a tremendous amount of like relief, like, oh, that's what we're doing. How do we, before this, you know, turned on the podcast, we're talking about marketing. Now I know how I want to market and talk about it, so people know when they come in, you know what, I really like their philosophy. I like their methodology. I really, whole human. I really like that. Not a lower human, not a higher human. You're not a dysfunctional human. We're a whole human. We're considering all factors when we put together your health and fitness program, whether it's a group session, a one-on-one session, a meditation session. Because when you come in to me after an 8-hour workday and you're stressed out, you know, you're in a fight with your wife, or the traffic's crazy, and you're coming in with that energy, I kind of know that now. So, okay, I adjust a little bit. I don't need to keep sending you into a HIIT workout, right? If that's not what you're physiologically needing for the day, hey, maybe I start you off at 15 minutes in the sauna to like decompress a little bit and get some of that maybe self-limiting belief out of your system, or the kind of I don't feel like working out today. Maybe kind of take some of that off of the plate first, then you go. Or maybe you're like, man, I'm feeling really like anxious today, and I just kind of really want something to charge. Perfect. We'll do a HIIT workout today. Or we might do, you know, a high intensity today first, because you're wanting that and you need some kind of discharge other than screaming and yelling in anger. Let's get that out of you. Take it out on the treadmill or the bike or the ball slams, or, you know, the kettlebells. And having that be what our clients not only understand what we do, it makes it more fun. It makes it more engaging and exciting, because people are more willing to, hey, this is where I'm at today, or this is what I'm working on. And then through our different modalities that we offer, come to this class on Wednesdays, or come to the meditation class here, or hey, check out this free book, and that's going to help you be more sustainable with your workout goals, or your sleeping goals, or your nutrition goals, of why you can't stay on target, why you can't stay consistent. Or every time you get to a certain point, man, my goal is 50 pounds. I do really good for the first 20, and then I fall off. If I'm approaching it from a whole human, well, these are the other things. You might not need what did you say? The petrol oil, or what did you say?
Petrol oil?
Or what did
patchouli oil.
Patchouli oil. You might not need that, right? You might not need a crystal. You might not need breath work. You might not need any of that stuff. Oh, what you might need is better boundaries, or your understanding of discipline. Discipline doesn't have to be so harsh. You might just need to work on consistent. How about you just work on eating consistently, and then we'll go from there, versus stop doing this, stop doing this, stop doing this, start doing this, start doing that. I think that one of the things that the health and fitness industry does a very poor job at is realizing people that are not in the health and the fitness world, that don't enjoy working out, that don't enjoy this kind of world that we live in, how overwhelming it is to try to take on health and fitness based on all the information that's out there, all the research, all the contradicting research. I mean, you can find research to back any argument that's out there. We don't take into consideration, are we adding to that overwhelmingness? Are we adding to that confusion? Or are we actually allowing people to confront, actually, this is very overwhelming. It's very scary. It's very vulnerable for me, for you to see my flaws or things that I'm not good at. Kind of, maybe it's a little embarrassing for some people, or they have been criticized, or they're beating themselves up. And I'm going to go into the workout, I'm going to be the slowest one, or I'm going to be the most overweight one, or I'm going to be the worst one. We don't consider that into when we're approaching someone. Or if I am someone who's in good shape and you're someone who's not, you're carrying around like, are they judging me? Oh, do I want to look like them? Or do they want me to look like them? Or we don't consider that. And that creates, again, more distance, more barriers. And I think we talked about this on the last podcast, to where the health and the fitness world, because of social media, it's not people actually getting better. It's just health and fitness people just showcasing how healthy and fit they actually are. And it looks like people are making progress, but they're not. The research backs it. Anxiety, stress, depression, PTSD, sickness, disease, diabetes, cancer, insomnia, addiction. No, it's not getting any better. Why? Because we keep creating separation. We keep putting on these weird words that no one really knows what it means. And it's just adding to why, for example, this was another thing we talked about. It's hard to create a self-sustaining health and fitness business. Why? Because, well, what sells? Let me show off the muscles. Let me show off the sex appeal. Let me show off all this. And all I'm attracting is more people like that versus the people that actually need these modalities. Why? Because you know how scary it is to walk into a gym full of people who are in shape, good looking. It seems like they're confident, but we know that they're not. I don't want to go in there because I don't look like anything like that. And for me, wanting to create something completely different has not only been hard, but you realize, oh, wow, there's a lot of people that don't think like this. Or they might, but they're afraid because they're going to lose clients, or they're going to lose business, or I'm not going to get the views. I'm not going to get the clicks. I'm not going to get the likes. Again, it's just adding to this. It's like we're shooting ourselves in the foot, because I believe genuinely trainers and coaches in this field want to help people, but we came into it thinking it's going to be one thing and realized, oh my God, it's not. I'm selling supplements, or people are only wanting to do the same 5 machines because they want to grow their glutes, or they want to grow their chest, or they want to grow their arms. And the trainers that kind of get into it more, and they're like, oh, whoa, this person's struggling with an eating disorder. Oh, this person is struggling with fear of failure. This person's struggling with commitment issues. Or this person's life is a chaotic mess, so they're canceling sessions left and right. You know, and even the life of a trainer. Usually the most busy times are early morning, after work. So then if I want a family and I want to have a wife and kids, it's like, but I have to work early mornings and late nights to make my life work. Now my life's dysfunctional. My life is out of balance. But if the world at large would really emphasize, actually, there's a huge need for health and fitness, whole human health and fitness. Man, at your work, you should be, it could be 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and your boss is, hey, we're paying for these trainers to come in. We're paying for memberships. Everyone gets a 90-minute break. You can drive over to OPT, get your workout in, come back. Oh, man, I feel better. I'm less stressed. I feel good about myself. And then trainers have more stable income. They can work different hours versus just early morning, late at night. So their energy levels are better, more sustainable long-term. And all of a sudden, we're actually making an impact in terms of how people receive health and fitness and realize the importance. Because some people think I have to look a certain way for me to be healthy. Oh, that's what health and fitness is. That's what working out means. In the health and fitness industry, all they keep doing is doubling down on those things. And so then it leaves the trainer like, I guess I got to do those things. And it just is this weird kind of dysfunctional world that the health and the fitness has lumped themselves into. And it's like they can't get out. And I think that's even how we got onto our whole tangent when you came in talking about these things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what most people think of is, let's just say I'm somebody who wants to lose weight. I need a coach. I need to make that decision to walk in through somebody's doors, whether it be a commercial box gym or a place like yours at OPT. There's an expectation that if I go to a gym and I get a trainer, a coach to help me get healthy, that I think most people think, all right, I'm just going to get my butt kicked. I'm going to have all the things I love taken away from me because that's what got me here, all my bad eating decisions, et cetera. That's, I think, the biggest fear for most people is, am I ready to sacrifice what I like to eat? Am I ready to sacrifice my time sitting in front of the TV, decompressing and just checking out of the world and trying to just get rid of that stress that's in my life? Or am I ready to go to a gym and get my ass kicked by somebody who doesn't have all these other tools? Because most of what the industry has is just a couple tools. It's, I know a little bit of nutrition and I know some movements, and they're both components, but it's so much more than just those two. So if somebody doesn't understand the power of, let's just say, other things like mobility, flexibility, and then going a little bit deeper into like breath work or contrast therapy, then they're not gonna be able to suggest that person doing any of these because they don't know the benefits. So the way we talk about in school to our students, the reason why we come to your place is because it is such a huge skill set that most coaches don't even know exists or know what it does. They might have read some literature. They might be following Wim Hof, and they're like, I would never do that, but he's healthy, or follow any of these other influencers that do, contrast therapy, but they're afraid to do it. They understand that it has benefits. Maybe some understand to a deeper level what benefits they are, but they've never done it. And until you have done it, you can't speak to it. And that's why it's so important for us to come every term. It's my favorite time. It's become my favorite field trip the last year and a half that we've been coming to your facilities, because when we get there, I kind of prep them a little bit what to expect. I'm like, this is different. This is different. This is a tool. This is not just for you, but this could be for your future clients as well, because now you understand that these are other modalities that we can use to help at a deeper level with our clients. And then when they get in there, the last few times I haven't gone into to breath work, I want that to be their time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to see me there.
Is Coach Travis looking at me?
Watching?
Yeah.
I want them to be, because what happens is we usually come out there about the 6th or 7th week. This time I was a little bit later, I think week 8. And we're already becoming a community. The class becomes a community pretty quick. Everybody's like, hey, we're doing the same thing. This is cool. We're all going to be coaches. We're learning a ton. We're all, it's like a fire hose the first week with terminology, anatomy, and physiology, and all the framework that is needed and required for a coach to build upon. And once they get, what I've noticed is once we get to OPT Fitness and they are done, they've all done breath work, they've felt a way that they've never felt before together, and then they go into the sauna and they're all in there struggling together, and then they go into the Arctic plunge or the ice bath together, and when it's done, they are like this, because they all together did something difficult. Like the breath work, it's easy, but it's also, it's hard to describe what that feeling is that overcomes you when you're just full of oxygen. And the mental the mental thoughts that just come to your brain, because like you said, you described it well. When's the last time you've sat with yourself in peace and quiet? That's your opportunity with what you do. And I think that's why a lot of people, Well, they have little breaks, you know. They something bubbles to the surface during that time that they've been pushing down, and now it just seems to creep up during that 5-8 minutes that you do, or 10. It's somewhere in that ballpark. But that's just step one. All right, that was different. I've never felt that way before, and all I was doing is breathing. I didn't take any substances. I was just breathing, and I felt really good. And then there's 2 more parts. We got sauna and ice. After that, it's like they were all friends, and now it's just like there's a community. It just, you all did something very difficult. That the sauna is difficult, 115, 120 degrees for 15 minutes. When
ours is 200.
I'm way off.
Yeah.
I'm thinking one night. Yeah,
That's the infrareds.
okay. Yeah, so that was difficult. 15 minutes of that for me when I was in there the first time. I was like, man, all right, how much longer do we have? I don't see a clock. You don't have a clock on the wall.
No.
So we can't just look like, yeah, where do you think we're at, guys? And then you finally walk in. I'm like, oh, thank goodness we're done with this. That was difficult. I've never been in a sauna that long. So with maybe 5 minutes to go or so, maybe 10 minutes into it, my body was like, hey, man, why don't you get out? It's a little hot, you know, but nothing bad's going to happen to you. But my body was beginning to tell me, like, man, I'm uncomfortable. And then I just had to keep saying, good. It's like what Jocko Willink says, good. So I started thinking of that. I'm like, good. I'm uncomfortable. Good. I'm going to be more comfortable when I jump in that ice. So same thing when I got in there. That's the first time I'd ever been in 32-degree water, as far as I know. I don't know how cold the creeks are in Colorado in the middle of the winter. I've jumped in those before.
Yeah, those are probably 32.
But I didn't want to do it. Everybody else was doing it. I'm like, as the director, I cannot be seen not doing this. So I had to overcome that, and it was game changing to me too, because now I can speak to what that feels like, what that whole process feels like. But the end result of every time I go there is just they're kind of like confused why they feel so good. And the last few times, that's the end of school. Everybody feels excellent. They're also trying to wrap their head around why they feel so good and what just happened. This is an experience that they wouldn't have done breath work the way you do it in that environment that you provide. They wouldn't have gone from there to a sauna, from there to ice. And all 3 of those things, what are we talking about? So what's the word? What's the new word?
Whole human.
Whole human. They experienced something that they would never experience in an hour and a half, and now they're trying to wrap their head around this new feeling. So instead of going back to class, go enjoy this.
Yeah.
Enjoy this feeling, because this is free. This is now something you've experienced that now you can have your clients do, or give them suggestions to try 1, 2, or 3 of those modalities to help them feel better. Now you can speak to it.
Yeah.
So I think for coaches, they should put themselves in that position to invite in new information that they can now put in their tool belt to use for clients when they're in different phases of their life, or if they're having some sort of day where it's just cortisol, freeway, stress, sympathetic nervous system, just, hey, I got something for you. And you provide that. And I think that's awesome. I don't know of any other facilities that, I've never seen a facility offer what you do in a whole, what's it called again?
Whole human
way.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. And for any coach that hasn't experienced coming to your place, is feeling as welcome as anybody does as they come into your space, because everybody feels welcome. I hear you talk to them when I'm outside eavesdropping, when you're talking to them before you do power breathing with them or after. I'm like, this is awesome. I love what they're going through right now. As a coach, I would highly advise trying out these modalities. If not at OPT Fitness, somewhere else that offers.
Yeah. Well, you bring up a lot of good points. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And back to like the weight loss piece. Again, when we were talking about the dysfunction, or our conversation where you were like, hey, let's get this on the pod. We compartmentalize health and fitness as health and fitness is gym, is weights, is punishment, right? That's what we've done to people. This is what health and fitness is you got to give up everything you love, and it's going to be hard. And it becomes this, well, we're punishing ourselves, but we punish ourselves all day, every day, no matter what. Most people do. They're judging themselves. They're self-critical. They're hard on themselves. They're driven by subconscious emotions or traumas that they've never unpacked. So they got to make this amount of money or work this job or drive this car, live in this house. And they're punishing themselves all the time. And so when you use that example of someone who's, okay, they're overweight and they want to approach this and they got to give up all the things that they love, what you're talking about right now is that relatability. So then anytime I'm working with someone that's like in the health and the fitness industry, I say, okay, well, give up your protein. Stop drinking. Take all your supplements and put them out. What's going to happen to you? You're going to freak out. You know how I know? Because that was me. When I started fasting, I changed. I stopped drinking my protein, my power bars, and I had this weird, oh my God, what's going to happen to my muscles? What's going to happen to my strength? Am I going to get slower? Like my macros, what about my protein? And guess what happens? My whole life came unglued. But then I had to wrestle with what it was that I was actually compensating for, what I was actually insecure about. I haven't freaking drank a protein shake in 3 years, 4 years. And every time I try, whether it's a natural, a holistic one, try this brand, it jacks up my stomach. But I would have never known that if I didn't create a new relationship with what gives my body inflammation.
Yeah.
And so then what happens is you tell all these people out there, all these health and fitness people, hey man, just do work out, sleep, and eat good. Get all your nutrients through that. Just try it. Just see. And what's going to happen? They're going to come unglued. And now all of a sudden, you have this relationship with someone who's trying to lose 100 pounds. And you're like, man, they can't give up this food group, but I can't give up my protein shakes. So who am I to judge? Actually, you know what, man? When I gave up my freaking protein shakes, do you know how insecure I got? Man, I'll tell you what, it made me really insecure about myself. And I bet that's very similar to what you're going through. So let's work on this together. Now, all of a sudden, there's a relatability. I'm not here and you're not here. We're actually in this together. Same thing. I could just tell someone, hey, how about you give up your caffeine for the next 6 months?
No.
Okay, so then what are you talking about right now? You're telling me right now you can't give up your caffeine? What you're doing isn't sustainable. I'm here to help people create sustainability. I'm not saying you can't have caffeine, but if you're that person, the health and the fitness, and you can't give up something that you think is health and fitness, no, man, you're not really who you say you are. That's the dysfunction. All the girls out there, guys out there, they go to the gym with all their matching outfits. Hey, man, how about you just go to the gym wearing regular clothes and no one can see your muscles or how big your glutes are or how nice your chest is. Just do that and just see what happens. I'm not saying you have to always do it, but just see. Why are you actually going there? Would you do these things if no one even knew that you were doing them? Would you work out? Would you do this stuff? I guarantee you wouldn't. If for the rest of your life, no one would ever compliment you on how buff you are, or how big you are, or how sexy you are, I guarantee you if no one for the rest of your life would compliment you on that and it provided no sex appeal, guess what? You're not doing half that stuff. And this goes into the holistic wellness meditation people, right? For me, I don't know if we talked about this last time. When I really got into the breath work, the ice bath, the sauna, I was doing it every day, right? Oh, this is great. I'm doing it every day, every day. And then I missed a day, and what do you think happened to me?
Nothing.
I came unglued.
Oh, you came unglued.
I got anxious. Oh my God, am I not going to be good in the ice tomorrow? Am I going to be good in the sauna tomorrow? And I'm like, oh, I did it again.
Yeah.
I'm not approaching it from the whole human standpoint. It's just become another escape for me to not deal with different things. So then I'm like, oh, okay, now that I'm aware of that, how can I put boundaries on it? How can I not be so, I have to get this in or I got to do this in? It's like, no, if I don't get it in today, I'll knock it out on the next day. If not, I'll knock it out sometime. I'll be okay. I'm not being driven by this dysfunctional.
Yeah, you're just driving in dysfunction if you continue to think that way.
Yeah, and that's the programming, the punishment,
Yeah.
or the only reward is I look good and my sex appeal is through the roof.
Right.
And
well, for trainers that that do these things, it sells, right? It's marketing, and that's why they do it. But for the general population that sees them, they're looking to get healthy. Like, what do I have to do to get like that? It's not. They might be driving themselves in the ground. They might have some dysfunction with fitness making that something that's unhealthy, and working out every day and every day thinking that they have to have the right amount of carbs and proteins to look a certain way and keep their body so they're more marketable online, and it proves to other people looking to get help that they know what they're talking about, and it just snowballs. You know, there's so many stresses as an independent coach. You know, you're affiliates of a clothing line. I got to represent this clothing line so I can make some residual income on my Instagram. If you click this, you get 5-10% off. It's a rat race, and it's stress for coaches that get involved with that rat race. How many affiliates can I get? I got another TikTok to make with this affiliate. Here's a 5-10% code. Act now. Here's me drinking it. You're going to make money, but are you also driving dysfunction into your own self as well by doing this? And what's it like? And perception's reality, right?
Yeah.
When it comes down to it. So what people are looking at on TikTok, social media, is these influencers. And, you know, influencers have a bit of a bad name. A lot of them are just trying to make it. And they do have the knowledge. And they just got caught up in this rat race to make money and to monetize and all that, to get X amount of followers and how this happens. And I couldn't imagine being in that world. But for those who are looking to get help, they don't see what's under the surface, which creates a good whole human to help facilitate the top of the iceberg that most people see outside of the water. Mm-hmm. You know, that iceberg effect.
Yes.
So all most people see is what's sticking out of the water, but what's keeping it there is the foundations that nobody thinks about, like the whole human thing, or the holistic stuff that is free and helps drive down dysfunction, and helps drive down cortisol, and helps drive down, you know, stress, and makes us feel like we can do these things instead of it just being one more thing added to this litany of things that are making me not want to make any movement. They're just petrified by like all this stuff.
Yes.
Let's make it easy. Let's make it whatever you're at. Let's make it simple, baby steps. Create small habits. Once those habits are created, another small habit, instead of pulling that rug out from underneath their feet, like we were talking about before, which is what a ton of coaches do. It's everything bad in your life that you've been doing. Today, it's gone.
Mm-hmm,
You're working with me. It's gone. Kicking your butt. No more Starbucks for you. Mocha Choca, Frocco Macchiatos or whatever. 800 calories. You're done with those. You're done with your snacks. You're done with this. Today is a new day. Nobody's going to comply to that. You can't.
Well, what's interesting about what you had just said right now is where I get frustrated with the people like the Andrew Hubermans or the Jockos or the David Goggins or these people that are the health and fitness experts, the gurus, or even the influential people that are talking about wellness, holistic lifestyle, where they fall short. For me, it's like, why you keep talking to the individual? You should talk to the corporations, the companies that these 500 employees work for. You need to be helping us as trainers, health and fitness. And the reason that I still call myself a personal trainer when your trainers come in, why? Because I'm proud that this is what I do. It's the dysfunction that people have and how they perceive what personal trainers are, health and fitness coaches are, wellness coaches, transformation coaches, whatever jargon you want to use. But if we were to be implemented into different institutions, for example, if you run your own business, right, and your health and fitness, you got to pay for your own insurance. You literally got to pay for everything. But I'm being charged just as much as the other person, and I'm taking care of myself. I don't go to the doctor. I don't get sick. I don't need medication. Why am I getting punished for living healthy life? And what's the incentive for me to even want to live healthy when there is none? But I know that impact it has on the quality of my life, the conversations, the friendships, the relationships, my own mental well-being, that I can go home at night, I can sleep. I'm a little bit more at ease. I know how to navigate stress. If someone cuts me off in traffic, it doesn't ruin my day, or a flat tire, or, I'm okay. But if some of these bigger people in the health and fitness world were like, look, we're talking to the individual. We need to talk to these places that these individuals work for, that these individuals are employed by, or whether it be small government, local government, big government, insurance places. Like, why aren't insurances linking up with personal trainers, health and fitness studios, and saying, hey, look, we want to create a deal because we want people to be healthy? Because guess what? When you're healthy, you show up to work, you're more engaged, you're more focused, you're way better positive mood.
More productive.
You're more productive. You don't get sick. You can manage your stress better. Everything becomes healthy, well, stable, harmonized. It doesn't mean it's all day, every day, but the chances of it happening dramatically increase. The opportunities for it dramatically increase. And so then for me, I'm like, well, we're just so separated. That's the dysfunction because of how we portray ourselves, how we market ourselves, how we talk about it. But if some of us that are small business owners or personal trainers, oh yeah, you complete the NPTI course and there's this insurance company that's going to work with you and the clients. And so we'll actually pay for insurance or we'll actually pay for training. We'll pay for sauna and ice bath. We'll pay for meditation. Actually, we'll bring them into the office. We'll have a whole floor that, you know what, these 25 people work out from 9 to 10. These 25 people work out from 10:30 to 11:30. These 25 people work out from 1:30 to 2:30. These 25 people work out from 2:30 to 3:30. 100 people worked out throughout the day. The trainers got paid. They did their job. Everything is working in harmony. But because of it's not important, health and fitness, that's not, people think health and fitness is they're just not sick. Well, I'm breathing, I'm eating, I'm talking, I don't have any disease, I'm good. It's like, no, that is the complete opposite of what health and fitness is. Again, it's backed by all the research. Look at all the research, look at all the evidence, and it's not working. And usually what's sad to me is people only really want to turn their health and fitness around when something traumatic happens.
Right.
Maybe a death of someone, they have their own health scare,
Yep.
a cancer or a sickness. Like, why is it that people only want to look at their health and fitness when they are forced to, when they're in pain, or even when they do, I'm punished? And that's the dysfunction of the marketing, how we talk about it, how we communicate it. Are we welcoming in? If I'm in a room full of bros and I'm so intimidated, can all the bros get together and be like, hey, welcome. Like, we're here for you. If you have any questions, we'll work out with you. If that was more of the image that was portrayed, no, you don't have to drink protein. No, you don't got to do the macros. No, you don't got to meal prep. You don't have to do any of that. But what you're going to have to do is figure out what works for you. You are going to have to give up something. So your Starbucks analogy, hey, look, you can do the mochaccino, frap up, whatever, but maybe just not every day.
Yeah.
Maybe like 1 day a week, 2 days a week, but the rest of the days, you just got to make it yourself.
Right.
You just make it yourself, and that's going to be, as you start to clean and clear out these other parts of your life, you're going to be like, actually, this is too sweet. I don't even like it anymore. I actually just like the coffee with the little cream, little sugar, and, well, what do you know? You kept your caffeine. It wasn't a punishment, but that one just takes a little bit more digging. That takes a little bit more of a whole human approach to, well, why do I need to live off of, and I'm speaking to myself how it was, 1,000 milligrams of caffeine a day. Why? Because I didn't like the life that I was living, but if I jacked myself up on enough caffeine, I'll be able to make it through anything with positivity because I hijacked my dopamine.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, when we talked about this, is that's what the message that I want to put out is how to empower trainers, fitness, health coaches to really challenge themselves. It's like, man, what are you doing to people? How are you talking about it? Are you adding to the dysfunction? Are you actually improving people's lives? Because I'll tell you what, I work with people who have millions of dollars, more money than you can even fathom. Business people, athletes. I work with people who are the most in shape, dialed in, shredded. And you know why they come in to see me? Is because their mind isn't right. Their emotions aren't right. They're out of tune with themselves. They're overwhelmed by life. They actually hate the life that they're living. And I'm like, well, yeah, because you guys have everything that you need. But for whatever reason, this is what's happening. That's why we take the whole human approach. I'm not taking anything away from you. We're just going to reevaluate some things. And it just so happens for me, I like using the human body as a catalyst to do that. Why? Because this is the container, or what does Joe Rogan say? The meat suit that we've been blessed with in this lifetime. So guess what? This is home base. This is the compass. Mm-hmm. And that's how I've chosen to make impact in people's lives. And I was talking to a coach who's a part of my Genesis program. In my Genesis program, I have therapists, I have psychologists, I have other life coaches. They're coming to be a part of my program. And I say the difference between what we do at OPT and even my coaching programs is no transformation is possible unless there's a physiological shift that happens. That's the power that health and fitness coaches have. That's why I take it so serious. You can't think your way into a better life. You can't affirmation yourself into a better life. You can't hack your way into a better life. A physiological shift has to happen in order for you to actually create long-term sustainable changes. And so the human body, for me, is that catalyst in any program that I use. And for me, when your students come in and even talking about this, it's not I'm anti-health and fitness. I'm not anti-whatever. It's how can we actually take on more responsibility and talk about it in a way that's like, oh my God, the influence, the power, not from an ego standpoint, meaning I can shift someone's life for the better, is so meaningful. And if I take responsibility for that, it actually helps me not only do what I do better, more sustainable, more long-term, better impact, and inspiring people. Wow, yeah, I want to do health and fitness. I want to do that. And confront, maybe I am insecure about the bros or the girls at the gym, or maybe I am afraid of punishment, but it's not punishment. It's I care about myself. I love myself, and I want to improve the quality of my life, at least for our standpoint. It's like, yeah, man, again, I have people with all the money, all the abs, all the what you want, and they're miserable. And that's what shifted my own model back, when I first started training. I'm like, oh my God, people are struggling and they're coming to me with their struggles. I'm responsible to help them. I don't have to, but I'm also, me as a person, I'm not going to turn a blind eye to it. So every time you come in with the same problem, like, whoa, I don't know what to do here, versus I got you. And we're going to use these modalities to do so.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, I love coming out there. I'm looking forward to coming out next term. There'll be a few more people.
Yeah.
Get some more ice baths, man.
Get you in for round 2.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it again next time. I'm going to go 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was interesting to see everybody going back in last term.
Yeah, it was awesome.
One did 30 seconds, got out. One did another 45 seconds, got out. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to do the 3. So as we were talking out front, you could, like you were saying at the beginning, they're going back in. We could hear them going back in, cheering each other on.
Yeah.
It was awesome. But no, I appreciate you very much, Joey. I love what you're doing. I love how you're helping people. It's amazing, and I highly suggest if you're looking for some other modalities to help you along your fitness journey, your mental health journey, it's a good place to start, OPT Fitness. So I highly suggest it. But before we end off, what's coming up for you next? What do you have anything going on? Anything planned coming up? Any new groups?
We just got our summer programs going. We kind of we do the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year. So summers are great because we get our college athletes coming back into town. We got high school athletes getting ready for college. We get the people that are they're just looking to get in shape, but no big launches of anything coming up. Everything is really, stable right now. I'm going to be here until October, but then that's my next, see you guys later. I'm headed back to the jungle. So everything is home base until then.
It's awesome. Well, cool, man. How can people find you? Where are you located at?
So we are in Mesa on Country Club and Baseline, 745 West Baseline Road, 85210. On our Instagram at OPT Fitness, our website, optimalaz.com. And that's really, that's our main channel. On our Facebook, it's OPT Beyond Fitness. And that's how you can get a hold of us, find us, check us out. If you have any questions or emails or want to come in for a free trial session, reach out, DM, email, text, and we'd be more than happy to help.
Awesome. Hey, that book, can we link that to the end of the...
Oh yeah, I'll send you. I can send you again, but I have an updated version of it. I sent it to you, but you can link the book, the OPT Beyond Fitness. The whole human approach to transformation, and it's free. And you can even just start there as putting some of these pieces and things that I'm talking about in our conversations, applying it to yourself, and really starting to let the wheels turn. Of whoa, there are ways that I can evolve that are just going to improve my life. It might be hard, it might be uncomfortable, but long term, that's what creates the transformation, the sustainability, and impact, not only for yourself, but your entire community, if you allow it to.
Yeah, that's cool, man. We'll link that. Well, I've got a new word I'm going to be using, whole human.
Whole human.
Yeah. I'm holistic will probably slip out a few times before I change. But hey, man, as always, great seeing you. Look forward to seeing you next term.
Yeah.
And, changing some minds on what health and wellness and fitness looks like. So
Cool.
pleasure having you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Chaps. I appreciate it, man.
See you
for
again
real.
soon, Joey.
Thank you.